The Las Vegas Raiders entered the 2026 NFL season in a major transition, centered around number 1 overall pick and franchise quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Rebuilding under general manager John Spytek and head coach Clint Kubiak. Staff changes. The team aims to rebound from a tough previous year by splashing in free agency and overhauling both the trenches and supporting cast. After parting ways with veteran head coach Pete Carroll, the Raiders did hire Clint Kubiak, fresh off a Super Bowl title with the Seattle Seahawks, as an offensive coordinator. Kubiak's hiring brings a modern, young offensive philosophy to Las Vegas. His prior familiarity with Kirk Cousins is expected to help the team install its new offense seamlessly during the transition year. Las Vegas made former Ravens star Tyler Linderbaum the highest paid center in the NFL history. Paired with a healthy Kolton Miller, the Raiders are banking on a heavily improved front line. Do you agree with the strategy of starting Cousins, or would you prefer for Fernando Mendoza to start right away? Why or why not? What say the people's champ?
You know, I've mentioned this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the misfortune in my life as a football fan to support one team being the Detroit Lions and the other, thanks to my affection for Tecmo Bowl and all things Bo Jackson and NWA and the DLC. But then Los Angeles Raiders.
Yeah.
So I always kind of root for the Raiders from afar.
Yeah.
That said, I think starting the season with Kirk Cousins as the starter is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And why I say that is because it says to me, and I'm no one in the scheme of things, I realize this, but it to me, it shows that they're taking this serious.
Yeah.
Like they're not just trying to quelch the ravenous fans.
Yeah.
They're not looking for just the splash. They're going about this as like how real football teams do.
Yeah.
I think Kirk Cousins is a pro.
Yes.
He's not going to show you bad habits.
Right.
So I think if you can do that for, I don't know if it has to be maybe, I don't think it has to be a Mahomes situation where he has to sit for the entire season.
Right.
But then again, who knows? What if they start winning games?
Yeah.
You know, then there's that. But I think it's a good thing if they start the season with Cousins. If it was another quarterback, if it was Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Jacoby, it's the first name that came into mind. But if it was Jacoby Brissett, I would be like, play the kid.
Yep. No, I mean, we agree. Because this situation is antithetical to what's going on with the Cardinals. Mendoza is the guy, for sure. You don't have any question about whether or not he's the guy. You spent the number 1 pick on him.
Right.
You know, he's already demonstrated all of the traits of a franchise quarterback. You know, he's shown the aptitude in film session. He's picking up the offense. He can make all the throws. He's big. He's athletic. You know, that's you spent the number 1 pick on him, so you already know all of this. Kirk Cousins is a stopgap. Mendoza is the future.
Right.
So this is antithetical to what's happening in Arizona. You know, like last year when the Giants drafted Jaxson Dart, we said start Jaxson Dart right away. We said that because Brian Daboll was on the hot seat. We like, bro, attach yourself to the rookie quarterback right away. You're wasting time starting Russell Wilson. You're going to be fired before this kid can even show anything about himself.
And how did that work out?
And that's exactly what happened. And now the next coach has got your young rookie quarterback and you somewhere coordinating probably.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. See, like, you got to read the room. Every situation is not the same. Bringing Jaxson Dart along slowly when you on the hot seat and playing Russell Wilson was a waste of time. You could have unlocked Jaxson Dart much earlier, and if you did that, you'd probably still have a job. But I digress because we're not talking about Brian Daboll. This situation ain't that. We know Mendoza is the guy. Again, once like unfortunately for the Raiders, y'all playing a rugged division. Y'all playing with three of the best teams in football in terms of roster construction. I'm not going to say you got zero chance to win the division, but I mean, you have a low probability of winning this division. It's not very likely that you're going to beat out these other three teams who are, again, very well constructed from a roster standpoint, and you're up and coming. So,
but they can build.
Yes, no, and I think listen, Mendoza to me, like there was a lot of, I guess there were some mixed reviews on him coming out of college.
Oh,
not for me though. I'm like, man, first of all,
that kid?
Yeah, like first of all, he can make every throw.
Huge. Pause.
Second of all, he was playing at Indiana. Now I know Indiana ain't the Indiana from the early 2000s, right? It ain't even the Indiana from the early 2010s, but he ain't throwing the ball to Julio Jones, and you know what I'm saying? He was still throwing to like Surratt, and you know what I'm saying? Like they had good talent, but it wasn't like these wasn't like 5-star recruit. Like he still had to put the ball in the right spot most of the time. Like them dudes wasn't just running away from the other team's cornerbacks. So, like, no, I'm like, this dude is the real thing. Like, he had to go out there and get some of them games on his own.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, no, man, Fernando Mendoza is that dude.
And he's got a nice backfield with him.
Yeah.
So that's a good start.
Yeah, so. and they solidified the O-line. So, I'm like, no, he got Brock Bowers. They actually have some offensive pieces. But what I want to talk about is the defense. Yeah, that's the side of the ball that I want to get to. I want to ask you a question.
Poor Max.
Yeah, I want to ask you some questions about the defense. And I don't know, I just jumped out for some reason. There we go. The Las Vegas Raiders' new defensive coordinator is Rob Leonard. He was promoted to the role on February 15, 2026 by head coach Clint Kubiak. Leonard has been with the Raiders organization since 2023, previously serving as the team's defensive line coach and run game coordinator. He replaced Patrick Graham, who held the position prior to the 2026 offseason. Staff overhaul. Under Leonard, the Raiders are shifting to an aggressive, fast-paced 3-4 base defense that prioritizes versatile player rotation, discipline techniques, and forcing takeaways. Do you think Leonard will be able to field a serviceable unit? What say the people's champ?
Well, it's going to be tough, man. You got to have, to play that style, you got to have depth at a lot of positions.
Yep.
And I'm not, and the Raiders just aren't exactly known for depth, especially if we're talking talent-laden depth.
Yes.
So that's going to be the problem. Yes. I just don't know if he has the able bodies for the scheme that they want to run. It may look good in spurts.
Right.
But, for 60 minutes, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. No, he's not going to be able to field a serviceable unit. Let's just be real. And it has almost nothing to do with Rob Leonard himself. I would have said that if the reincarnated prime Bill Belichick himself had been appointed to the role. It's just, they just don't have the bodies, like they've, unfortunately on that side of the ball, it's like Maxx Crosby and the guys.
Right.
Like they don't have the personnel. They, at all three levels, like they got Maxx Crosby, but they're not very good on the interior. They don't, they don't have anything at the linebacking core. Again, like Devin White, who was there last year, had 174 tackles, but he's now gone.
He's here.
Yeah, he's with the Lions. I mean, the defensive backfield, I don't know what's really going on there. Like they just don't have the personnel to field a really good defense, and that's really the problem. Like they actually have some decent things going on the offensive side of the ball where you could actually see them picking up some wins, but where they're going to falter is defensively. They're going to give up a lot of yards and a lot of points unless he can really scheme it up. And in the NFL, you ain't gonna really scheme. It ain't enough scheme, you can't scheme it up good enough to stop NFL offenses. You got to have personnel, man. So you know, like no disrespect to Rob Leonard, because it's nothing to do with him, but you got to have the horses, and they just simply do not.